Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Poetry. In today's episode, we are going to talk about Emily Dickinson. Let's start. Who was Emily Dickinson? Well, she was a reclusive American poet, and she was unrecognized in her own time. Dickinson is known posthumously for her innovative use of form and syntax. She left the school as a teenager, eventually living a reclusive life on the family homestead. There, she secretly created bundles of poetry and wrote hundreds of letters. Due to a discovery by sister Lavinia, Dickinson's remarkable work was published after her death, and she is now considered one of the towering figures of American literature. Her early life and education, well, she was born on December 10th in 1830 in Amherst, Massachusetts. Her family had deep roots in New England. Her paternal grandfather, Samuel Dickinson, was well known as the founder of Amherst College. Her father worked at Amherst and served as a state legislator. She was an excellent student, and she was educated at Amherst Academy for 7 years, and then she attended at Mount Holyoke Female Seminary just for a year. Though the precise reasons for Dickinson's final departure from the academy in 1848 are unknown, theories offered say that her fragile emotional state may have played a role in it, or that her father decided to pull her from the school. Dickinson began writing as a teenager in 1855. Dickinson ventured outside of Amherst as far as Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There, she befriended a minister named Charles Wadsworth. Dickinson's seclusion during her later years has been the object of much speculation. Scholars have thought that she suffered from conditions such as agoraphobia, depression, and anxiety, or maybe had been just sequestered due to her responsibilities as guardian of her sick mother. Dickinson was also treated for a painful ailment of her eyes. After the mid of 1860s, she readily left the confines of the homestead. It was also around this time, from the late of 1850s to mid-60s, that Dickinson was most productive as a poet, creating small bundles of verse known as fascicles without any awareness on the part of her family members. Dickinson died of heart failure in Amherst, Massachusetts, on May 15 in 1886 at the age of 55 years old. She was laid to rest in her family plot at West Cemetery, the homestead where Dickinson was born, and that is now a museum. Little of Dickinson's work was published at the time of her death, and the few works that were published were edited and altered to adhere to conventional standards of the time. Unfortunately, much of the power of Dickinson's unusual use of syntax and form was lost in the alteration. After her sister's death, Lavinia discovered hundreds of poems that Dickinson had crafted over the years. The first volume of these works was published in 1890. A full compilation, The Poems of Emily Dickinson, wasn't published until 1955, though previous iterations had been released. The strength of her literary voice, as well as her reclusive and eccentric life, contributes to the sense of Dickinson as an incredible American character who continues to be discussed today. Now, I'm going to read for you a poem by Emily Dickinson. Its name is Success is Counted Sweetest. Success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. To comprehend a nectar requires sorest need. Not one of all the purple host who took the flag today can tell the definition so clear of victory, as he defeated, dying, on whose forbidden ear the distant strains of triumph burst agonized and clear. Well, this is everything for today. I hope you enjoy it and share it. Thank you.